In BCM300 game experience, our group had to develop and conceptualize a board game that would appeal to the mass market and board game publishers. This board game experience introduced multiple key game concepts and game mechanics relevant to the design making of our board game, Resurrect the Dead Wizard. Resurrect the Dead Wizard is an action horror board game that our group prototyped and play tested as part of our collective game design process. The key game mechanics are important and establish how the player can interact with the game, what can and cannot be done, and how the game responds to the player's inputs. In the development process of the board game, we brainstormed and generated ideas for Resurrect the Dead Wizard, where the original idea was to use a more practical and immersive approach using a sandbox to dig for body parts of the wizard in order to assemble the complete wizard. However, this idea could be difficult to navigate as the game requirements would entail having to supply the sand, and this could be considered problematic. The narrative 3-act structure we developed helps strategize the layout and the objective of the game, where the beginning part of the game is considered the most important. The first act is framed in the call to action and sets up the experience of the following acts. This usually involves the players deciding on a strategy to win. Playtesting. Once we had developed our first prototype of Resurrect the Dead Wizard, it made it easier for the group, including myself, to view the strengths and weaknesses of the board game mechanics. I designed tasks to the group members which they each needed to complete when designing the board game layout, such as the action and jump scare cards, etc. My role was to create the main board and the individual wizard boards on which players could place their magic items and body parts on. To demonstrate the group playtesting Resurrect the Dead Wizard, I recorded the process for the presentation, and players interacting with the game mechanics such as reading the action and jump scare cards to move their characters across the board, thus contributing to the group game experience. The playtesting confirmed that we had addressed our intentions of providing players with a satisfying gameplay and that the set of rules allowed the players to have a clear understanding of where they are positioned within the game, in terms of assets, resources, etc. And yet, there was a sufficient level of randomness to add challenge and excitement to the game to encourage different ways of thinking to resolve problems. The theme and settings are important for game design in that they contribute to creating an immersive and engaging experience of the player. It can also influence the gameplay mechanics, story, and characters in the game, whilst also communicating the game's purpose, meaning, and values to the players. My role. I did not have a specific role title in the development process of Resurrect the Dead Wizard. However, as I was contributing in all areas of the group presentation, I was considered the project coordinator. My contribute consisted of supporting each member in their chosen topic, such as the overview of the game type, game mechanics, themes, and settings. I organized the messenger group chat by arranging FaceTime and encouraging members to do their tasks. This was my only concern. The members would have to wait for me to message the group chat to get their parts onto a Canva page or Google Doc.